Hi, good evening everyone. Welcome to ixamBee. Today we have Aakash Santoria with us. He got selected as an RBI Grade B officer 2019. Many congratulations, Aakash.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me give you a very brief background of Akash. So, by education, he's done his BCom honors, he's cleared CFA level 1, and given various other certificates in finance certification exams. He has worked with Science Analytics, it's an investment banking and PE advisory firm. He worked there for 2.5 years, and then he decided to quit and pursue his dream of getting a government job. So he has given some attempts at UPSC, NABARD, RBI. The interesting thing is that RBI he gave for the first time this year, and he has cleared it in his very first attempt for RBI Grade B examination. And welcome, Akash. And one more very interesting point, Akash is close to iXamB. He is a senior content developer at iXamB. So very proud to know him, and feel very proud that you've become an RBI Grade B officer now.
Thank you, Prachi Ma'am, for a great introduction.
So how does it feel? And
Yes, it feels good. Maybe the journey is difficult, but the destination is definitely a beautiful one.
oh, definitely. So okay, so as you said, the journey is difficult. So tell us a little more about your journey.
So, as in, you have given an introduction about my education qualification and my job experience. So, let me start when I started with my preparation for this RBI. So, I started with my preparation in December 2018. So then onwards, I started preparing and giving mocks and all. So coming to phase one, so I don't remember exactly how much did I score, but roughly to give an idea, I scored somewhere around 132 overall. So I scored 60 plus in GA, approximately 61 and 62, I believe. And then in English, I scored somewhere around 22 to 23. I scored roughly around 16 to 17 in points and 32 to 34 in reasoning.
Okay, so 60 plus in GA. So many people believe that this is so difficult, and GA in general has more weightage. So how did you manage 60 plus in GA?
I guess it's more of a revision. Matlab, people do have access to information, but the only thing they are lagging somewhere is the revision. So there are plethora of information across various formats. So you have to stick to one format or one source and revise as much as you can. So that is the basic key of scoring over 60, I believe.
Okay, so in general, you also know, and so many students always keep asking कि कितने
Yes.
महीने का GA पढ़ें, कितने 4 months is enough, 6 months is enough, 8 months is enough, only 2 months is enough. So आपका कोई did you set any pattern? Were you revising for some particular targeted months?
See, matlab, exam was on somewhere around in November, I believe, November 2019, right? So, matlab, ऐसा था कि I started from the latest ones from November onwards, and I then moved backwards. So the bandwidth was somewhere around till May, I believe, April or May 2019. But anyway, one cannot prepare everything and anything. So there was questions from even 2018 current affairs as well. So again, you have to be focused कि ये करना है तो but revise करना so that we don't miss on anything which we know, and just because of lack of revision we haven't as in able to answer this.
Like you are also saying कि revise करना है, तो GA कैसे
Yes.
revise होती है?
जीए के लिए तो मैंने थोड़े नोट्स भी बनाए थे, तो मतलब एज अ फर्स्ट वन लाइन और समथिंग लाइक दिस, तो अक्रॉस तो उसके हिसाब से मैं फॉर लास्ट मिनट रिविजन तो उसके लिए रिवाइज भी की थी. तो डिपेंड्स कि अब सब्जेक्टिव माई स्ट्रैटेजी मे नॉट बी सूटेबल टू एनी अदर पर्सन एज वेल. सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन वन स्ट्रेंथ एंड वीकनेस. तो मेरे लिए था कि मतलब एक बार पढ़ लिया एंड वाला डूइंग इट, तो मैंने एक शॉर्ट हैंड नोट्स बना लिए थे फॉर लाइक लास्ट मिनट रिविजन और समथिंग लाइक दिस, क्योंकि मुझे कहीं मिले नहीं थे एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम.
Okay, right. So moving on, आपका reasoning and English also decent scores. So
Yes.
How were you preparing for that? Did you follow anybody particularly, or how much did you practice? What was your timing like?
See, the basic crux of cracking the exam is practice mocks, especially for phase one. So I knew that I was pretty decent in English. So मतलब mocks के से I could do it. But reasoning में I didn't follow any books for reasoning as well. So reasoning मैंने mocks से किया. However, if I was stuck into something, some concepts while practicing mocks, so I got down to basics through Google search and I followed exam the reasoning material as well. तो accordingly फिर मैंने वहाँ से वो concept clear करके then I moved on again to the next mock. And coming to your quant section, so yes, I was somewhat weak in quants compared to other section. So मैंने ये किया कि मतलब I cleared my basic concept from this I exam the material and then I gave practice mocks. So that helped.
Right, right, right. So, moving ahead. So, one was phase one, so you cleared
Yes,
that. Then there were, there's almost what 20 days between phase one and
20 days.
phase two.
Yeah.
तो
Yes,
आपका
yes.
phase two फिर कैसे किया आपने? When did you start? And how did you plan for those 20 days?
See, Prachi, giving you asking this question gives me an opportunity to answer many questions, many doubts which students have.
Sure.
So many students do make an error that they do not see an exam in a holistic view. They prepare exams in phase wise, like phase वन के लिए अभी पढ़ लेते हैं, phase टू के लिए after maybe phase वन clear हो जाए तब हम पढ़ लेंगे, and so forth. So that's the mistake we are doing. So while I was preparing, my point was that I should be ready for the interview phase as well, not for I was studying everything from interview based phase purpose as well. So हाँ, I agree that there is some dedication preparation, but that comes especially some when exams are near. So November में I guess it was prelims. So I started from mid October to solely focus on phase one. But before that, I was preparing for phase two and all. And given that you mentioned my education background and my work experience in finance, so basically it made my job a little easier. So I was maybe I was little relatively more confident rather for my phase two rather than phase one. So my basic concepts were clear, and so accordingly I practiced mocks, and in the 20 days it was just revision. Yes,
Yeah, so that's a very good point that you have brought out.
yes,
Sometimes people are focused so much on phase two, or sometimes they are focused on phase one, that that
yes,
holistic thing is lost. And
yes.
given your background, that helps me, to come at another point about your strengths and weaknesses. So, had
Yes.
you, while making your plan, your study, did you have any strategy in mind, or you just went with the flow, or did you try to analyze anything?
Yes, I did. So while I was starting with my preparation, I just saw the last year's question paper. So what is it all about and how to go about it, and so accordingly, I did an analysis of my strengths and weakness, which are my strength areas. So I found economics, finance and economics particularly are my strength areas, and management I can do it. So my weak points were precisely reasoning and quants. So I worked hard on it. So yes, one should be somewhat be analytical of their strength and weakness and plan accordingly. I'm not saying this is a foolproof idea, foolproof strategy. It may vary from person to person depending on his qualifications, educational background. So you have to analyze your strength and weakness and strategize accordingly.
Right. So how many mocks had you practiced for phase two?
I've lost track. Phase two. Okay.
Yeah.
Phase two, I doubt, but maybe somewhere around 50 plus to definitely 50 to 100, I believe.
Okay, so many. Right.
Yes.
So basically, you did not, just stick to studying the notes over and over again.
No, this is the problem with some of the students, as in they keep on studying notes and notes. So you have the preparation as well as the self-assessment should go parallelly. While you're preparing something, just give a mock. Even if you don't know too much about it, give a mock. So it will help you to realize your strength and weakness in a much better way.
Right. So, I come back to that point, where you told us that this was your first attempt at
Yes.
RBI,
Yes.
and, it was Yeah, sorry for that technical error. There was some network issue at our end. Uh, yes, sorry, Akash. So if we can continue, I was asking you. What would your suggestions, tips, learnings will be from your preparation that you can help guide for to the students or aspirants what going to try for the next year? Yeah, sorry for that
So
technical
the things
error.
I've learned from
There was some network
preparation
issue at our
is
end.
to look
Uh,
through the
yes,
exam
sorry,
very
Akash.
holistically rather
So
than
if we
phase
can
wise.
continue, I was
So while I
asking
was
you,
preparing for,
what would your suggestions, tips,
sorry
learnings will
about
be
it.
from your preparation
So while I was
that you
preparing
can
for
help
my
guide for?
phase one, so I was pretty aware that this knowledge will definitely help me in phase two and subsequently in my interview, and so I prepared accordingly. So and preparation should be as in giving you the knowledge for your descriptive English as well. So it shouldn't be that you are preparing content for your descriptive English after you have done your phase one or something like this. So the preparation should be holistically, as I'm saying. And one thing some students do try to cover everything and anything possible. So that is not the right way to go, I believe, at least for me. So I believe कि whatever I'm reading, it should be that if anything is asked in the exam, obviously the basic things. So I should be able to answer it rather than forgetting, recalling it just because of lack of preparation. And other thing students should do is practice mocks and not just keep on reading the content. So the practice and reading should be simultaneously and parallel. And moreover, the only the mocks, as in attempting mocks, won't help. The crux lies here to analyze your mocks. Where did you went wrong, and so how to and just improve on it, and then give the other mock. So while I was preparing, I gave for phase one I'm talking about. So I gave one mock every alternate day, just because I needed time for analyzing my answers and which areas are my weak points and where I'm improving. So yes, so definitely I believe I would like to take this opportunity to thank iXamB, as in without their support, I think this journey would have been very difficult for me. So their material did help me in a very focused way rather than searching each and everything on Google. So thanks iXamB for your help on this matter.
Thank you, Akash. Okay, so some specific questions now I'm taking
Yes,
from
sure.
the participants. So someone is asking, what is the strategy for quant per se?
Again, as I said, it depends from person to person. So my strategy, given that I am from finance background, and for me quants was a little tricky uh, section for me. So I tried to cover the basic concepts. So perhaps for that matter, if any student from science background will find it very easy compared to me. So it depends from person to person. There's no single strategy for quants.
So what was your strategy like?
So I cleared my basic concepts, and then only I moved on to practicing mocks.
So Yogesh Patil is asking that he has done all the concepts and
Okay.
now he is confused whether you should go for revision or for mock.
Actually, the mocks does cater to your revision. I believe that while you're attempting question, you're revising. It helps in your revision as well. And whichever area you feel that it is a weakness while attempting mock, so you go and revise that particular section and come back.
True. That is correct because mocks also ultimately only if you have been able, if you will not do, if you made a mistake, then
Yes,
you will go back and see what mistake
yes,
it was
definitely.
and why
Mm.
that mistake happened. Sarika Chavan is asking, what was your timetable like for the day? When you said you were studying for 8 to 10 hours in a day,
Mhm.
so what was your timetable like?
So, matlab, I was not very much limited to books throughout the day. So, whatever after studying for 8 to 10 hours, whatever time I did, I went for sports, gym, and all etc. and etc. I had hobbies to pursue as well. So, I didn't limit anything just only to books. So, I gave 8 to 10 hours on a daily basis. So, and after that, I followed my other hobbies. But yes, you have to be consistent. So you can't say you are then studying for 10, 12, or 15 hours for a day, and then the next day you're not studying at all. So that consistency is required.
Right, that's a very valid point. Consistency because even if you are good. and
Yes.
it happens with anybody, even with us. And if you are not keeping track, or you lose after 1 week, you just don't revise, or you are not reading anything at all, you tend to forget, even if
Yes.
it doesn't happen. It's, and especially for management, I would say this, that it's
Yes.
easy, and I agree with that. It's easy to learn, it's easy to forget, equally easy to forget. It's fine. Another question. What about newspaper? Which newspaper did you follow, and how much time did you spend every day, morning or evening?
So, as I may be sounding a little unusual on this, but I didn't read any newspaper till my phase two.
You did not
So
read any
no,
newspaper.
I didn't. So so my point is ki I followed Bpedia, which is given by ixamBee, and so after reading it, my only strategy was to revise fact rather than accumulating information. So I read information, Bpedia, and that is all about till my phase two. For my interview, I did read this newspapers, but for till my phase two, I didn't read any newspaper. So if any person or any institution is providing you a focused and compilation of news, so I think it's more towards as in more better work rather to follow this magazine compilation rather than doing it your own way. So it saves time as well. So
This
for
is
me, it
very,
was
this is actually very unusual, Akash, one to cut in
yes,
between,
yes.
because it's good to read the newspaper and know what is happening around you. So
Matlab, I didn't follow it that religiously for my preparation, but I was just aware what are the things going on, but I didn't rely too much on it. So till my in phase two, I'm talking about. After phase two, definitely newspaper should is definitely a yes.
which one were you following after? Uh,
So I was reading a financial newspaper, rather two. So Economics Times, and I believe another one was Financial Express. Along with this, as in supplementing it with BPD again.
and okay, this is another favorite question.
Okay.
What about RBI circular?
See, the main student should be somewhat careful that you have to cover RBI guidelines or something, be it from any source. It doesn't have to restrict it towards RBI circular from the website itself. So I followed it from the compilation given by iXamB, and in case I felt that in case I need to know something more about it, so I definitely went through this RBI circular. Otherwise, I restricted myself towards this compilation. So it depends on person to person, but yes, if you want to, you can. But again, it's a quite lengthy one, a detailed one. So given a layman, it will be difficult for many of us to understand this.
Okay, but I think given your background, you did not find that challenging.
No, I am speaking about in general. Not so exceptions may be there. There are students who are pretty, as in have a good background in economics or finance. They'll find a little more easier comparatively to non-commerce or non-finance students. So, but yes, you should cover it, be it from any source. The RBI guidelines I'm talking about. So the source doesn't matter. The news matters.
Right, of course. That is absolutely right. We have to be consistent. Okay, so
Yes,
I am actually reading the questions
sure,
side
sure.
by side. Uh, so Sarika Chavan is asking, how did you practice for descriptive English part?
Yes, an interesting one. So what I did was, while I was preparing, so I had in mind, so I somewhat kept a structure for different themes, made a note of essays on different themes, particularly. So for women, I had one particular note. For environment, I had particular note. For that matter, I had for financial inclusion and so on. NPAs, I had some notes. So I so that I could fine tune it according to the questions asked, and I could fit in anywhere. And after doing this, I while I was just at the later part of my preparation, before phase one I'm talking about, so I wrote 3 4 essays and self-assessed myself with the timelines what which RBI gives. And after my phase one, I gave 2 mocks, I believe, and got it evaluated here or there. So this is all about my descriptive preparation English paper.
Okay, so timing yourself was also important, as
It
you
is very important that given that you have to be within your time in the real exam, so you have to train your mind accordingly.
and all this content that you accumulated at for different topics, so say like you
Yes,
said for LPA or maybe
yes, yes.
something else. So where were you accumulating these from?
I was maintaining, I believe, a hard copy of this, all this.
From okay, so like from newspaper cuttings, magazines,
Okay,
or yeah,
okay.
okay.
So from newspaper, like whatever reports and indices, like it's mentioned in Bpedia. So I try to make a note of it under different sections. So I I prepared a code for each and every section for that matter. I should start an essay with that code or rather end it with the code. And accordingly, any data regarding the NPAs, any RBI data regarding the NPAs and financial inclusion are definitely important given that it's an exam conducted by RBI.
So you worked on getting the content basically from
Yes.
different sources,
Yes.
and then practicing writing them in a right English manner. So
See,
that
content wise, I think any student while preparing for phase one and phase two will have a decent content and knowledge. The only challenge lies in descriptive essay or English for that matter is to, as in, present it in a more holistic manner to have an interlinkages and to avoid any grammatical mistakes.
yes. So I'm sure when you were typing, you switched off the error detection uh, scheme on the word. So when we write, we get
Yes,
pops
yes. So
that
I
this is
practice in
incorrect.
notebook. I practice in notebook rather than Word
Okay,
document.
Word document, so that you don't get the hints.
Yes.
That's a good way. It helps in the typing speed also, because I think that also matters in
Yes,
how
yes,
well
yes.
how
So
quickly
while I
everybody
was
can type.
practicing for notebook, so as just to cut short my self-assessment of descriptive assessment, I copied the same in Word document, and I could see what are the grammatical mistakes. So,
Navya is asking about the entire strategy from start again. So Navya, we have been discussing that. I would request, if you see from the beginning the video, you will be able to know the strategy. Omkar Kumhar is asking about your ESI strategy and the sources for preparation for ESI.
so ESI basically is economics and social issues. So I relied on the given the content by ixamBee. So and in case I felt that I needed to know something more about it, so I definitely Google searched it and I prepared budget and economic survey a summary as well given by this iExamB. So whatever I thought are important and which I think I should have a little more knowledge, so I definitely Google searched it. Otherwise, it was primarily restricted to iExamB material.
So kind of you got a base and then you built on it by your own
Base was
knowledge.
always there, given that am a commerce graduate. So I believe the base was always there. The problem of having the basic concepts right was not with me, at least. The only challenge was to equip with the latest developments in economic and social issues.
Sarika Chavan wants to know, apart from iExamB, which other places for mocks you would refer to?
So there are many sources. I can't remember as of now, but there are many sources if you want to practice. But I found the iExamB practice and the mocks were very good quality. So I will definitely recommend to, as in, at least make iExamB's mocks one of the sources as well.
Thank you again, Akash, for that. Any last minute tips? Anything more? I think you discussed most of all your strategy from phase one till the interview level. Uh, and we'll keep hoping for more guidance from your end
Yes.
before,
So one thing
future
I
on.
missed while I was discussing the interview preparation was that a very interesting one. I don't know how many students or my colleagues did follow it. So I made a rather I, we two friends who were preparing for this RBI interview. So we had a mock session every alternate day. So we had a separate timelines defined, and we rather took each other's mock every alternate day. So before the actual RBI interview, so I was ready with somewhere around 500 plus questions, the most probable ones depending on my profile. So I was ready with my answers. So and this actually helped in my interview. So there was many overlapping questions as well in my interview. Not exactly but definitely the topic wise.
500 questions.
At least 500 I'm talking about.
And your friends have got selected?
Yes, yes.
Wow, congratulations to them also.
Thank
And
you.
this is great. This is, I think, very good. Peer strategy is very helpful.
Yes,
And sometimes, we may miss it and look at the others as competition. But
yes,
peer learning, I think, is very, very important.
yes,
And
definitely. Yes, definitely.
it does boost if you have the right group
Mhm.
to
But
help you.
but the key is here to restrict your the group to two or three people. Otherwise, it becomes more of a gossip rather.
Yes. No, agree. So, okay, so Omkar is asking, can you suggest how one should prepare for the schemes which are not in news? Because some schemes have come from, 2 or 3 years or even more,
Mhm. Got
past.
it.
So
Mhm.
how did you prepare for those?
See, again, just to reiterate my point I said earlier, so one cannot prepare for each and everything. You have to be pretty appreciative of this fact. So, even if how much hard you prepare, there will be some question in the exam which you won't have any idea about. So, you have to content, whatever I am doing, I should do it. And any question, if asked from this topic, I should definitely answer it and should not, as in, try to recall in the exam just because of lack of revision.
Yes, that's a good point, and I think we
Yes,
also keep telling that this exam it's not about 100%. Of course, one should aim
exactly.
for the highest, so that because there will always be some things that you
Yes.
may miss, but it should always be about knowing majority and maximum in the group
Yes.
rather than knowing 100%.
Yes, it's actually a competitive exam. So you should definitely know, at least try to know more thing than the other people, but definitely you should not aim for 100% accuracy. And it is not feasible actually.
So Mahendra Rawat is asking, although I know what your answer will be given your education background, he wants to know, did you prepare for finance numericals or not?
Yes, I did prepare. I didn't want this complacency to as in come in that I'm a finance graduate, so probably I will have this comfortable level. Definitely, the thing only thing helped was I was not as in practicing that much as and many a maybe a non-commerce or non-finance student will, but definitely I did practice it.
Yes.
But just an interesting point, there was no numericals in 2019 finance paper.
Yes, so there wasn't in 2018
Yes.
also. There was, I think,
Okay.
one related to fee,
Somewhat related, yes, but there was
fee,
no
but
at
it
least.
was, yeah, it was not a calculation basis. It was more
Yes.
of a concept rather than calculation. So yes, they have not been asking numerical somehow in the last 2 years. So, Raj Verma, to answer your question, I will answer this. Yes, I started the introduction of Aakash. He is a content developer at ixamBee. So, yes, he has taken sessions on skills also. Uh, Akash, Vishal wants to know if interview in Hindi language has any effect on the selection. Would you have any idea? Do you know any friends who've given?
As far as I know, given that a board is so impartial, so language is not a barrier for RBI interview. So if you have written in your detailed biodata form, which RBI gives after phase two, that you will be giving your interview in Hindi, they will be welcoming in and asking questions accordingly. So language is not a barrier. You will be equal fitting with any other candidate who knows and is giving an interview in English.
Yes. So I will just add here, Vishal, for your clarity, that RBI gives you a choice. Even in the exam, you have a choice. You can attempt in Hindi or English, of course, except for the English paper, which you will have to do it in English. But otherwise, quant, reasoning, GA, finance, ESI, you can choose to do it in Hindi. And similarly, for interview also, you can
Yes.
state your choice whether you want to give your interview in Hindi or English. So that is not, they are giving you that choice. So it is definitely, it does not have any impact on your selection. The language will not have any impact on your selection. Uh, okay. Okay, so this is an interesting one if you want to share.
Sure.
Omkar is asking, how do you handle the family pressure while preparation?
So,
This is like personal. If you want to, you can choose to answer or not
to
answer.
be very honest about it, my family were very supportive throughout my preparation. So I didn't have any pressure regarding this. Again, it may vary from person to person. For me, they were very supportive. So whatever little success I owe is definitely toward to them.
Thank you, Akash, for your answer. I think we have covered everybody's query. Your detailed strategy. Thanks again for sharing and taking out time for this session with us. And many, many congratulations
Uh,
for your selection. And all the best for a bright future.
Welcome and thank you for having me. So I would like to once again thank iXamB for the support throughout my uh, preparation, and I also given my mock interview to iXamB. So there were some experienced panelists over there in terms of I can't recall the name, but there were ex RBI officers. So definitely that helped me as well in my mocks.
Great. Happy to be a part, and it makes us proud and, extremely, extremely happy when, people get selected. And if we have played any kind of role, smallest role also in selection, then I think it serves the purpose for which we exist. And again, many congratulations and thank you so much for your time, Akash.
And just I would like to end this with some motivating line, which I believe throughout. So many students will may or may not as in find it motivating, but definitely it is. So study as if there is no tomorrow, prepare as if there is this is the only chance.
Great. Great.
So I
Thanks.
believed in this, yes.
It definitely worked for you, and I'm sure many more will be motivated because of this session.
Yes.
Thanks again, Akash.
Thank you for having me.